Welcome to the end of the year Raw. Now, one thing I want to say early, I apologize I could not get my Impact review. I'll see if I can talk about it at the end of this review. But I have a lot to talk about. When we look at 2013 and 2014, did the WWE do a good job here? No. The WWE has been sporadic throughout this year. And at one point, they were actually red hot. I say around the end of September into October, into almost in December. They were interesting. And then, gone. No real super good interest. No really good storylines. Certain things just didn't make any sense after a while. We really thought certain things were going to go down a path, and then nothing happens. So seeing how the WWE has gone into this year, and then going into next year, makes you question, do I believe this Raw was good? No. It gives a lot of questions. That worries me. So let's go into the first thing. Well, we're going to go straight into the beginning of the show when it comes to CM Punk dealing with the Shield. Now, CM Punk talked well, but really, I wasn't interested. And here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. 3 weeks ago, Roman Reigns was supposed to be splitting off from the Shield and possibly turning heel. Or turn face. I believe he was going to turn face. But they cut that off by the time they went to TLC. And then a week after TLC, it was still nothing. Until now. I believe it's very bad timing in the WWE. So when Seth Rollins challenges CM Punk, the match really wasn't the question here. What was Roman Reigns going to do? Not much. Particularly after Seth lost. I would have expected them to tell Roman Reigns really to have an attitude with Seth Rollins. Have an attitude with Dean Ambrose saying that this is bullshit. I'm better than this. But he didn't do that. He just helped Seth to win. And it didn't work anyway. And Dean Ambrose looked like a bitch. Which makes me question what they're going to do with him. They have not structured the Shield at the end of this year to be able to function separately. And this is where things have gone bad. 3 weeks ago they had the option and they didn't pull the trigger. So going in 2014, when they finally do pull the trigger, even though it may still get over, I believe it would have been hotter weeks ago. So here's two matches I'm going to put back to back that really didn't have any relevance. Curtis Axel and Dolph Ziggler. Great Khali and Damien Sandow. 3 of those 4 men have had nothing good throughout the year. To certain points they did. And then it went down in flames, particularly at the end of this year. What do we get for Curtis Axel? A very good, strong beginning for him. And then a drop-off until now. Actually nothing. He's not better than perfect. He's worse than perfect. When it comes to it makes me angry about calm. When it really comes to Damien Sandow, out of all 3 of these talents, he's the strongest one there. The problem I see going in 2014, that they care more about trying to rebuild using older stars than they're trying to do with newer stars. Because when it comes to Sandow, he had the money in the bank and they could have done something good with him, give him programs to work where he doesn't have to win every time but would be prominently shown, where people would have interest. The good and bad Santa, even though I love seeing a Mark Henry, who I will be bringing up later, it was not enough for him to make up for what he's been treated throughout the year. Great Khali and him having that match and him winning the match really had no interest, particularly that he said if he didn't win, he quit. There was nothing interesting for him throughout the year. So why in the hell are you going to care? I feel like he took 2 steps back with this. Because there was no need for him to say I quit if I don't win. Because there had been someone better than Khali, I might be interested, but there's nothing there. And when it comes to Curtis Axel and it comes to Dolph Ziggler, Both of these guys could have had something better than what they had. They could have gone into upper card, but absolutely nothing. And I say this definitely for a Dolph Ziggler. One of the reasons why people love him so damn much isn't because he's the best talent since sliced bread. It's because the WWE has not structured anyone good in almost 5 years. And anyone who has some level, look at a Kofi Kingston. It's not the point that he should stay in the mid-card. It's the point that the people wanted to see if he could make it in the upper card or in the main title scene. He had one shot in the upper card going into the main title scene, and the brass stopped it because of you-know-who. And the point here is this. It's not about what the brass believes. It's about what we believe. And how those guys who are pushed into that main title scene, if they're willing to up their game. I have no idea if a Dolph Ziggler could actually pull off being there. I know the Slug Daddy says he's another Jeff Jarrett, and he probably is another Jeff Jarrett. But we'll never have that true idea if he isn't pushed up into the main title scene and allowed to actually fall on his face. We just don't know. So seeing these two matches was bullshit. There was no point in even caring. Now a match I do care about that made me very angry. Brodus Clay versus motherfuckers that make me fucking mad. Shit! I had to say it. I'm sorry for the curse. Brodus Clay versus R-Truth. 1. Brodus Clay comes in with no music. 2. Brodus Clay loses. Why? 3. Brodus Clay's music with the Funkadactyls, who I love the hell out of these women, come out. And then they're not used to distract Brodus Clay. It's Xavier Woods who does it. And at the end they start dancing like assholes. And what happens to Brodus Clay? Absolutely fucking nothing. They got a guy who has huge amounts of size, who looks like he could truly get over as one hell of a monster heel. They won't push him. They won't give him new music. They won't give him new clothing. If I hear someone below say, oh, they're waiting 2014 to really push him, that was stupid. I'm sorry. You're starting a feud with a guy. You don't give him anything to work with like a win. You don't give him any new music. You don't let him even walk down the aisle by himself with nothing. Remember, Vladimir, what is it? I can't remember his name. It's been so many years. But you get my point. There's some, I believe Vladimir Karloff. He was a character we once had. But essentially, when he came down, he had no music. You could have done that with Brodus Clay. You got nothing. So this was bullshit. Now, moving on to the things I did like. The Maddox was shown, which made me happy. And throughout the night, he was prominently featured. And I know people don't like Brad Maddox, but see it like this. Not every talent needs to be in the ring. Look what's going on with Rockstar Spud and TNA, and I will try to do something about that at the end of this review. My thoughts on it. But you see, you don't always need to be in the ring to get over and to be liked. I believe that Brad Maddox one day may become a manager to somebody. I don't know who, but I really believe that he won't need to be in the ring all the time. I believe he's better as a manager, like a Bobby the Brain Heenan. He could get over that way and be remembered that way. And I enjoyed his segments. The next segment that I thought was necessary was from Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Seeing Brock Lesnar come out when he got introduced by Triple H was okay with me. The thing I'm very worried about, and I will be upset does not happen, was not Paul Heyman getting Brock Lesnar over. One thing that upset me was Brock Lesnar talking, because he can't talk. 2, Mark Henry. My boy comes out to show his dominance to the mother and gets pushed through the retaining wall, flat out. I have no problem with him getting destroyed by Brock Lesnar. This is what I get upset about. If Brock Lesnar does not have a feud now with Mark Henry for the next 2 months, I will get angry. For the simple fact is this. When we go into Royal Rumble, and we know through Stephanie McMahon that it's going to be John Cena and Randy Orton again with no interference, no stipulation, just a straight ass match, which probably will be screwy. It probably will be. The point is that Brock Lesnar is not going to be in the main title scene after Royal Rumble. I doubt that. I doubt it. It'll be a while before he does anything. Maybe by WrestleMania. So what is he going to do in the meantime? Let him go up with a Mark Henry. I don't ever remember a Mark Henry, Brock Lesnar feud. You guys tell me below. I do not know. Tell me below. Because I really believe that has never happened. And I want to see that shit. This could actually be really good. If they let it happen right. Mark Henry's a good veteran. He can take care of Brock Lesnar and make sure that he does it right. I really believe this could work. But if it doesn't happen, I will take offense and I will rant on it. Now, when it comes down to it, the 10 Diva tag, and I want to get this over with, was I didn't like it. No matter if my namely was there, I didn't like it. One, why in the hell is Rosa Mendes still a blonde? She just doesn't look right as a blonde. When you see the match over and it was Oksana who won, which I didn't have a problem with over Nikki Bella. Not one bit. When you see those two next to each other, you look at Summer Rae, who wore some really nice clothes in the Fandango and Biggie Langston match, which I'll get to. But when you look at them, Rosa Mendes just does not look right as a blonde. She's a sexy woman. She's a good-looking woman. If I was offered a Rosa Mendes, I would not cry about it. I wouldn't say, oh, I can't stand it. I'll be happy to have a woman. But the problem is that Rosa Mendes, who's not seen often, just doesn't look right as a blonde. So I wish she would go back to having dark hair again. Something different. Make her purple hair to something. Now, let's get to the Fandango and Biggie Langston match. It was a good damn match. But here's my problem with it. Biggie Langston is good talent. He won that match and he represented himself well as the IC Championship. But the IC Championship is still too weak. If the WWE had built up the IC Championship properly months ago, and if Curtis Axel had been allowed to continue building that, and maybe if a CM Punk had won it from a Curtis Axel, I would say going in 2014, the IC Championship would be alright as a mid-card belt. But it's not. The problem here is there's no interest. And Biggie Langston's not enough of a star to make it work. As I said before, the best thing that needed to be done was to have two titles that would be contested at WrestleMania 30. That would be the new WWE World Heavyweight Championship and the IC Championship. If they could still change their mind and put the IC belt in there, that would be perfect. Having veterans, 15 of them, and having newbies, 15 of them, and each one of their respective sides won their shot at the title for WrestleMania. And then you build up both titles for the next couple of months to make it interesting. That would be perfect. But I don't believe the WWE is going to be doing that. I don't think they have the brain power to understand they need to prominently feature the IC title, because they're not doing well. Now, let's see. What's next on our agenda? The last thing is Daniel Bryan versus... The reason I botch is because when you see this 3 matches, which is supposed to be 3 matches, you wonder, where are they really going with this? Who is the one that made the Wyatts do this? Is this another take at trying to make a D-Generation X light? Going against the establishment? Going against the hierarchy? I don't know. Because you see him going up against Luke. And then you see him going up against Eric. Good matches. Daniel Bryan does great. But by the end of it, when he's supposed to meet Bray Wyatt, and you see this match, and then you see them, well, not really a match. In a sense, it's kind of a match of wills. That's the best way to say this. This was a match of wills. When the other 2 matches are over, and Daniel Bryan got his ass handed to him multiple times. This was a beating and a brainwashing. That's what this really was. And in the end, Bray Wyatt convinced Daniel Bryan to join him. Kicks his ass again. And then we see Daniel Bryan facing the crowd, telling them twice, really, he was right. I worked my ass off and the establishment never gave me a shot. You're right. I can't get anywhere. And he has to face the crowd. And the look of wanting to say no and getting mad, and that's the second time he wanted to really speak. And doesn't, and walks away. What does this lead us to? I just don't know. This is very, very uncertain for the WWE. They've taken away one belt. They have not rebuilt their mid-card belt. They have nothing to do with their main eventers, which is Daniel Bryan, CM Punk. You don't have Sheamus there yet. Brock Lesnar's there, but he has nothing to really do yet unless he's going to challenge a Mark Henry. Batista, who I'm happy to see him back, but when it comes down to it, they're trying to use the older generation wrestlers to rebuild their company instead of focusing on the younger generation. And I want to see Batista back, but he's not going to be there until maybe near Royal Rumble. So really, a huge question mark on how they're going to structure this. I do not believe this is going to be very well. I'm hoping I'm right. Well, in my heart, that I'm wrong. If that makes sense to you, ladies and gentlemen. But this is my feeling. I'm not going to give a rating for this show because really, there's no point in giving a rating. It's too many questions. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane view of Raw 2013. And now here's my thoughts on TNA. Simply, I enjoyed the show. And I understand about what happened with, well, see it like this. At the end of the show, when Sting and Jeff Hardy lost, and Jeff Hardy said he's not coming back, it's obvious. Like Fool Killer 99 said, really? They got to do it because he can't leave the country. But it's a cliffhanger. Now the WWE did this, and now I believe TNA also did it. It's not a bad cliffhanger to get. It'll make you interested to see what's going to happen in the beginning of the next year. The show throughout the night wasn't that bad. And I'm hoping that TNA will progress better going into 2014. I would have given the show a B-. I did like Impact. I did believe that it was still a question mark of how they're going to structure everyone after that. So I hope you enjoyed this show and this brief talk about TNA, and have a good day.